The universe began. Folks, this is a huge discovery in science. The universe has a beginning. In fact, scientists tell us, physicists, 13.7 billion years ago, the universe began. If Dr. Carl Sagan were only here, because as many of you know, Dr. Carl Sagan used to hold to eternal matter, or an eternal universe that expands and contracts and expands and contracts. Guess what? His theory has been exploded.
Hold up, pause. That's not true. According to Space.com, the theory known as inflation is currently the dominant explanation for what happened after the Big Bang.
With these scientific discoveries. No, the universe hasn't expanded and contracted. It has a beginning 13.7 billion years ago. Now,
yes, the universe has expanded and contracted, and no, the Big Bang Theory happened long ago. We're not saying the Big Bang Theory was the beginning of time, but the beginning of our universe.
Catch this. Science, you know what in essence is happening, is science is pointing the way now to the existence of God, and this is why. If we know that the universe, mass, energy, has a beginning, think about this. Physicists will agree with us here. Let's just take energy. Energy has a beginning point.
One of the most basic laws of science, energy cannot be created or destroyed. Therefore, it doesn't have a beginning.
If, as Einstein's theory of relativity tells us, energy is just another form of matter. Matter is another form of energy.
No, that is not what E equals mc squared means at all. This guy really doesn't know what he's talking about. Therefore, all the rest of what he says doesn't actually make sense.
They are relative to each other. Amen? Theory of relativity. You know what else is relative? E equals mc squared. Energy is relative to mass, which is relative to velocity, which is then relative to time and relative to space. See, if there was a time, if you will, if we go back all the way 13.7 billion years ago when there was no energy, guess what? There was no matter. Well, if there's no energy and no matter, there's no time. Why? Time is the measurement of the motion of matter. Amen? There's no velocity because there's no stuff moving around. Amen? Amen? And there's no space because what is space? Space is where we have matter in relative positions to each other.
Or an empty void.
So science has pointed to the fact that about 13.7 billion years ago there was no energy, no matter, no time, no space. What does that tell you? Somebody kick-started this thing. Amen?
No, not amen. That means something existed. And if something existed, everything he just said is not true. That means there was somebody who kicked it off. That means it existed already.
Amen. And whoever it was kick-started it. He's not material.
Which means he's not a thing.
Amen? Amen. He's not in time.
He's not real.
He's not in space.
He isn't there.
And you know what else? Here's a little whammy for you. He would have to be infinite in power. You know why?
Because time and space would already have exist, which just disproves everything he just said.
Because it requires infinite power. Didn't we already say it? It requires infinite power to bring something from nothing. Amen? Amen. This is science pointing in the direction and screaming loudly, guess what? There's a God, folks.
That is not at all what they said. Who said there was someone up there? That's like a ghost that, just made stuff out of nothing, but he was already made. And if he was already made, then he wasn't there. And if he was made, then who made him? Oh, he's there infinitely? That means everything has existed forever. Just another little tease.